Stop what you're doing because we've got Shin Hati's new kit reveal on the forums right now. Let's go take a blind look at this. Here we are, there she is. I still feel like this lightsaber's just a tint too orangey for my liking, but Shin Hati's kit reveal is here, so let's see. Alignment. Dark side, who'd have thunk it, right? Attacker, mercenary, and unaligned force user. Nobody is surprised by that tag. Key attributes: a lightsaber combatant who ignores taunt to attack her enemies. Introduces the new Soldier of Fortune effect for the mercenary faction. This stacking blue status effect that does nothing on its own, but on reaching a threshold, abilities with various effects are added. Inspiration is stuff. Okay, strategy tips: maintaining her critical chance and avoid Shin Hati getting critically hit so as to gain more stacks of Soldier of Fortune. Very interesting. Attacking stunned enemies with a high number of stacks of Soldier of Fortune on Shin Hati. And her granted ability, Clean Escapes, helps mercenary allies gain additional effects and inflicts debuffs on enemies based on their Soldier of Fortune stacks. Interesting stuff. So she's going to be a marquee that is dropping on Thursday, ladies and gentlemen of the tribe. How does the new mercenary faction tag affect previous characters? See that previous post, which was basically the road ahead 2.0. Will she be required to get Balin's Skull? Yes, at Relic 7. This should come as no surprise to anybody. Will Shin be required for GL Ahsoka? No, this should come as no surprise to anybody. The hub for GL Ahsoka has no further dark side characters listed in its release. Therefore, no dark side characters are going to be used in the unlock of Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano any further. Shin Hati's Omicron says target light side enemies' cooldowns are increased to their max value. It probably just means it resets the cooldown, so it goes back up. So something that's got a cooldown of 5 goes on a 5 cooldown, okay? So yeah, alright, cool. So, from the designer of Shin Hati, CG Vibex. Shin Hati and her master Balin's Soul are self-sufficient mercenaries we see in the first Ahsoka show. See first in the Ahsoka show, Icon English. Their seamless coordination and prowess in every mission is reflected in Shin Hati's kit design. Alongside them is Marok, who amplifies Shin Hati's effectiveness. Shin's character is defined by her grace in combat and her lightsaber skills, in combination with her use of the Force. These attributes are central to her design as her agility attacker in our game. Her kit reflects careful consideration of her quick-wittedness, capturing her ability to escape from perilous situations with ease. I'm guessing there's going to be some stealth aspects to this. We hope you find the adventures with her to be as exhilarating as the journey we see her on screen. Alright, so, and there's a submission link, guys. If you've got questions about Shin, that's the link over there. Abilities: basic, fierce foray. Yeah, okay, pretty cool. I like it. It's almost like a samurai slash over there. We are being sirs this evening, guys. We're drinking wine. Join me, why don't you? Final text. Deal physical damage to the target enemy and inflict critical chance down for 1 turn. If Shin has 10 or more stacks of Soldier of Fortune, she inflicts critical chance down on all enemies for 1 turn instead. During Shin's turn, call target other ally mercenary to assist. That's kind of cool. A call to assist on a basic? I don't think we've had that before. If the target enemy was stunned, deal 10% more damage per stack of Soldier of Fortune on Shin, up to a maximum of 100%. That's a very, very good basic. So, they said something about, her not being crit lets her raise her stacks of Soldier of Fortune. She's got sources of crit chance down, single target, and AoE target. She has also got sources of calling allies to assist, and stacking damage based on the number of stacks of Soldier of Fortune. Not bad at all. I've eyes on them. Special number 1 doesn't say the cooldown of this. It looks decent enough. I like it. It's a force push. What's not to like about, a classic Star Wars force ability? Deal physical damage to all enemies and inflict them with offense down and vulnerable for 2 turns on all enemies. Offense down is great. I think that is a 50% decrease in offense. Vulnerable is a debuff that guarantees critical hits on the enemy. Shin Hati gains 10% crit avoidance, stacking to a max of 50% for the rest of the encounter whenever each of these debuffs are resisted. Oh, that's interesting. So she only gets that if they resist the debuffs? All mercenary allies gain 30% protection up for 2 turns. If Shin has 10 or more stacks of Soldier of Fortune, she gains 25 turn meter and increases the cooldowns of all enemies by 1. That is a really powerful special. That's really powerful. AoE offense down, vulnerable, gives her stacking crit avoidance if the enemy resists. Mercenary allies gain 30% protection up for 2 turns, and if she does it with 10 stacks or more of Soldier of Fortune, she's going to gain 25% turn meter and increase all enemies' cooldowns by 1. All of them. That's huge. I wish we knew what the cooldown was on this ability. Okay, Special 2. We'll take it from here. She goes over and she slashes. That's her basic. They've not updated the animation on this. Oh, no. No, apologies. Apologies. Looks like she follows up the move with a basic. So, she runs in, she does a spin kick and a slash, and then she does an attack again. Okay, interesting. Physical damage to the target enemy and stun them for 1 turn. Shin gains critical damage up and riposte for 2 turns. We don't have a lot of sources of riposte. I think it's like Dooku and Malakos for 2 turns. Okay. If Shin has got 15 or more stacks of Soldier of Fortune, attack again, always scoring critical hits if able, and decrease the cooldown of Clean Escape by 1. I mean, that would be useful. Oh, that's not Clean Escape. She's got 3 specials? Holy moly. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. If the target enemy is inflicted with Purge, there's a source of Purge in this team. All right. Shin Hati inflicts buff immunity. Oh, Marok. Yeah, that makes sense. Shin Hati inflicts buff immunity on them for 2 turns and deals 10% bonus damage per stack of Purge, up to a maximum of 60%, because you can only have a maximum of 6 stacks of Purge. This also pairs in with her basic. So if she's got 10 stacks or more of Soldier of Fortune, or 15 stacks, she's going to call herself to assist. That basic then is going to deal 10% more damage to stunned enemies, which she can do on that second special. That's kind of cool. Unique number 1. You have no power here, Gandalf Greyheim. At the start of each encounter, Shin is going to gain 25% accuracy and 50% offense until the end of the encounter, and she ignores taunt effects during her turn, all very powerful. Whenever Shin Hati is critically hit, she gains retribution for 2 turns and 150 speed for 1 turn. The first time Shin gains 10 or more stacks of Soldier of Fortune, she is granted the ability Clean Escape for the rest of the battle. If Soldier of Fortune stacks are below 10, Clean Escape cannot be used. Alright. Oh, she's got TW Omicrons. Here we go. So, the TW Omicron. While in Territory War, and all allies are mercenary or non-galactic legend unaligned force users. Alright, okay. At the start of the encounter, Shin Hati gains 75% accuracy and 30 speed. Why accuracy? All allies gain 50% max health and max protection until the first time Shin is defeated, and all light side enemies are immune to cooldown reduction for 2 turns, or until the first time Shin is defeated. This feels like anti-JMK out of the wazoo, right? So JMK can't come in and immediately reduce the cooldowns of Cat, basically, is what it feels like. When enemies are inflicted with Purge, they have negative 50% crit damage and negative 30 speed. Whenever enemies attack 3 times out of turn, Shin is going to gain 1 stack of Soldier of Fortune, and whenever Shin gains Riposte or has 15 or more stacks of Soldier of Fortune, the cooldown of Clean Escape is decreased by 3. Whenever a light side enemy gains damage immunity, they're inflicted with Fear for a turn, which can't be resisted, and Shin gains a bonus turn. This, basically, her TW Omi is essentially turning the team into a JMK counter. It's like almost a hard counter for JMK. It's kind of nutty. Like, light side enemies and damage immunity, that basically is designed for JMK and potentially Rey, I guess. Additionally, Clean Escape has these effects based on the number of Shin Hati stacks of Soldier of Fortune. 20 plus stacks, all mercenary allies are revived. Yeah, it's definitely anti-JMK here. Shin Hati's it increases the cooldowns of all light side target enemies to their max value at 35 stacks. Unique to Soldier of Fortune Shin Hati. At the start of battle, Shin gains 1 stack of Soldier of Fortune per relic amplifier level she has until the end of battle. So this is sort of all part of CG's grand plan of trying to force us to take characters to higher and higher relic levels. So the more relic levels you have on her, the better she's going to perform. Who knew? Whenever Shin scores a critical hit or attacks out of turn, she's going to gain 1 stack of Soldier of Fortune, and whenever she is critically hit, she loses a stack of Soldier of Fortune. So it's going to be very important to manage those stacks. Crit avoidance probably on the arrow for this girl. Who'd have thought it? And yeah, lots of speed I would assume, and crit chance. At the start of each mercenary ally's turn, they gain 5% crit chance and crit damage stacking for each stack of Soldier of Fortune they have until the start of their next turn. Okay, alright, cool. So if you've got, say, 10 stacks of Soldier of Fortune, 50% crit damage and 50% crit chance. Not bad at all. Granted ability. Here's that clean escape that we were talking about. What does it do? She stealths. Would have thought it. Yeah, okay. Effects are based on the number of stacks of Soldier of Fortune. At 10 or more stacks, she dispels all debuffs and gains 30% max health until the end of the encounter. Wow, that's kind of huge. All non-tank allies stealth for 2 turns. That's really good. There's no cap on this 30% max health. She could just keep on raising her max health through the roof. 20 stacks. What's the cooldown on it? We don't know. Maybe that'll be updated later, guys. At 20 or more stacks, she dispels buffs on the target enemy. Shin also gains crit hit immunity and health steal up for 2 turns, and inflicts defense down on all enemies for 2 turns. I'm going to assume that it also gains, if you've got 20 or more stacks, you'll gain everything from the 10 stacks as well as everything from here. So crit hit immunity is obviously great for her. Let's go ahead and continue to ramp additional stacks of Soldier of Fortune without fear. She's going to be stealthed for 2 turns, so she can't even be targeted. Great. At 35 or more stacks, mercenary allies are going to gain foresight and offense up for 2 turns. Shin removes 100% turn meter, dazes all enemies for 2 turns, which can't be... Yeah, this is powerful as all get out, guys. Insanely powerful kit. Now, what we do know is she doesn't have any sort of leadership, but we do know that that Soldier of Fortune unique is basically going to apply to every single mercenary that is on the team. Now, I'm going to guess that when she releases with the game update, that'll probably be coming live tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, depending on where you are in the world, we will have the mercenary tag added to the game, which will most likely retroactively activate all of those other characters that supposedly are getting the mercenary tag. That was in their last big game update post. I don't think necessarily that there's going to be much that we use with her before Balin's Skull drops, but I can assume that Marok is most likely coming in the next week or 2, and then we'll probably get Balin's Skull not too far after that. I'm not expecting a whole boatload of releases coming for Balin's Skull in the near future. I think he's probably coming sometime in the next month and a half. I might be wrong on that. Maybe it's going to be towards the end of the year. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the kit down in the comments section down below. I think it's kind of pretty cool, and it's getting me excited to see what Balin brings to the game. She's going to be doing a lot of damage. She's going to be bringing a lot of viability to some old characters, and we're getting Marok next, I would assume. Alright guys, make sure you like so you don't miss a thing, and a huge shout out to my wonderful patrons. I will see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.